What's going on, everybody? All right, let's do this straight from
I
Toronto.
don't usually do this unless I'm drunk or I'm high, but I'm both right
You
now.
can keep
Got me
hating on the
talking about my
Toronto.
life. I don't usually do this unless I'm drunk or I'm high, but I'm both right now.
Tell him 6 God, let's go.
I don't usually do this unless I'm drunk or I'm high, but I'm both right now, and I need you in my
Fire.
life. I don't usually do this unless I'm drunk or I'm high, but I'm both right now.
From
Yeah,
the
I'm
6. Yeah, then a drink. Yeah, I smoke. All right. Just wanted to flex a little bit, man. Toronto, we in the building. All right. What's your favorite rap album covers? This I wanted to talk about. Let me give a shout out to the gentleman that came up with the idea, because I did not think about this. It's actually a great idea. Let me just go through the comments if you don't mind, and make sure I get my homeboy's name, because it was a great concept. And I was like, you know what? That is true. I never really spoke on my favorite rap album covers. So I'm going to do that right now. Off topic. There we go. Charismos 9131. Great fucking idea. Yep. So, let's talk about it. Now, I did say like I would give y'all some props if you guessed mine. And it looks like some of y'all did guess mine, but we'll get into that, okay? But let me just first take a look at some of yours, okay? And all of y'all suggested some good ones. I will say, I did say obviously mostly rap album covers. We can go because music is so wide. I was looking at a video of Prodigy Fat of the Land recently, and I was like, I love that album cover. The fierce crab and shit. Prodigy Fat of the Land. This is fire. Anyway, but that's beside the point. Rap wise, okay, let's go through these covers. Choke Jelani, Organized Confusion Stress. You know, I gotta be honest with you, my man. I don't really like this album cover. It's not my art style, but I do respect it. I think it's very intricate. It's certainly one of the more memorable hip hop album covers, for sure. If you've seen it, you've seen it. You don't forget this kind of album cover because it's just so intricate. I mean, look what's going on. You've got Pharoah Monch in there, Prince Poe is in there. I'm not sure who some of these other people are. It looks like there's like Houses, Lava. I don't know this is like there's a lot going on. But that's partly why it doesn't speak to me. I'm gonna just be honest with you. Again, not to say that you're wrong, because art is art. You like what you like, and it's put together pretty well, right? In the sense that it's certainly artistic. It's not demoralizing. Okay, it's not like some what was that Baby Keem album cover. This was trash. Is that his name, Baby Keem? I forget. Yeah, like this child abuse looking cover, right? Like, who puts this ugly shit on? But this is the game right now. The game is about selling ugliness, and the game has been selling about ugliness for like 20 plus years. Kanye West started that shit. Not exactly. I mean, a lot of people were doing it. Actually, it's just goes downhill, if you get what I'm saying. So it's not really started by Kanye, but you can look at sort of Kanye, Eminem, that demoralizing kind of dweeb vibe. The hip hop is really taken from them and obviously gotten a lot worse. But back then, our album covers used to inspire us, make us feel cool, and all that kind of shit. So, my all-time is probably Liquid Swords or Foreign Exchange Connected. Shout out to It's X 2024. These are some of my all-time favorite. It's interesting that he said that because I absolutely love the Liquid Swords cover. It is probably in my top 10, for sure. I mean, I just think this shit is so ill. This is ill. You're slaying swordsmen, slaying the whack MC like on the chessboard. This is actually a very underrated album cover. I don't know if any of y'all mentioned this in the comments. I'm going to take a look. But if you look at Beneath the Surface, I love this album cover. I always thought this was fucking cool. I remember seeing this. I think I borrowed the CD from somebody at that time. And I just remember seeing this album cover like, oh my God, this fucking looks ill. But then the album itself was okay. It wasn't like the greatest album or anything like that. But this was certainly like a really ill album cover. Like the world with the Wu imprint on it. I was like, oh. Beneath the Surface, I immediately, it was one of those things you saw and I was like, I gotta listen to this album. I gotta know what's up with this. In fact, this might have actually been the first Jizz album I actually heard in real time, because Liquid Swords was a little bit before me. I always tell y'all 97, 98 is when I started to get into rap. So Liquid Swords would have skipped me. Even though I did hear the song Liquid Swords a little bit shortly after, let's say like in 97, 98, but I only heard the single, right? And then I listened to, I'm pretty sure it was Beneath the Surface, was the first time I actually heard a Jizz album. And that was, again, my homeboy had the CD, and I was like, whoa, what is this? I gotta listen to this shit. So, anyway. But that's a really dope album cover. The Blueprint. What's up, Harry? Let me look at the Blueprint album cover. Yeah, that's classic. Not necessarily, again, not sort of like my favorite or anything like that, but certainly Jay-Z. Again, you know, if you're a great artist, man, you're gonna have great album covers. I mean, it's just the people that, again, this is the thing that people forget, right? Like, art is great across the board. Like, the great rappers, they have the best beats, the best voice, the best style, the best album covers, right? Because they really put their effort across the board, right? The whack artists have the whack beats, the whack vibes, the whack looks, the whack lyrics. It's just because it's lazy across the board, usually, right? Especially if it's coming out of one particular camp. So the Blueprint, Reasonable Doubt, it's okay. You know, again, but if you're into that sort of like the Hustler thing, again, they're great album covers. I really like Volume 1 when Hove is like that. That's probably maybe my favorite Hove album cover. But anyway, yeah, I actually prefer that to Blueprint and Reasonable Doubt, but both of these are fire. Liquid Swords, again, comes up. And the Low End Theory is a great album cover. Not exactly my favorite, but it's certainly very classic, very memorable. It may, in fact, be the most memorable Tribe album cover, I think. In a way, you could make that argument. I'm trying to think of people's instinctive travels. See, I can't think of the album cover off the top of my head. Oh, there it is. Yeah. I would go with Low End Theory. I think Low End Theory has, especially because it's the first time they introduced the low end, right? The person with the artwork and all that stuff. So, yeah, definitely the Low End Theory. One Eyed, my man. Yeah, I'm going to go with Illmatic because the concept is so simple, yet it's heavy. A child in his home city, but it leaves room for the listener or viewer to conjure up a movie while playing the album. To say that the music encapsulates the child's Nas's on the cover experiences from the beats to the rhymes is an understatement. I agree. I would argue that Illmatic is certainly, I would argue it's rap's most covered or appropriated album cover. Again, you're talking about somebody, Nas, who again comes out with the greatest rap album we've ever heard, with the greatest beats, the greatest rhymes, the greatest album cover, the greatest style, all that stuff. This is what I tell you, right? So when I see whack shit, I know what I'm talking about because we experienced that really at its apex, right? This album cover is phenomenal. It's one of the best ever, right? Certainly one of my favorite. You look at it and you're just like, you know, it's pretty brilliant for somebody to even come up with that because it's so simple, right? I mean, this is sort of like when you look at real genius. The most genius people in general unveil the simple shit that's like right in front of you, if that makes sense. But there's layers. The depth can go so deep, but on the surface, it's very, very simple. And so I love this album cover. You know, my favorite Nas album cover is actually not Illmatic, but you might be surprised as I Am. I love I Am. I mean, the Pharaoh look, maybe because it's not the first album I heard of Nas, it's the second one I heard of him, but I just love this, like the introduction of that Nas logo. I don't know if it was there on It Was Written. I'm trying to remember. I don't think it was, but I could be wrong. Oh yes, it was there, yes, but this is when it's in like kind of in gold. He had that Pharaoh kind of look. I just remember looking at this album cover back then and being like, whoa, this shit is fucking hard. And then, you know, Nas is like Iron Mike, Messiah type, before the Christ, after the death, the last one left. And you saw this and it just all fit. So I really think this is actually a very underrated album in general, obviously, but certainly the album cover, if nothing more than the sort of that Pharaoh gold Nas type of thing. I like this a lot. And someone I saw in the comments mentioned the Stillmatic pigeon. Nas Stillmatic. It's a great album cover, no doubt. I mean, Nas has some of the best. Again, I remember loving this. This is graffiti shit. Again, this is hip hop. This is Nas taking it to the essence. That Nas logo is fire. A lot of people might not notice that, but I remember seeing that shit and being like, "This is fucking ill." Your average mind can't come up with something like that. And you look at it, you know Nas. It's very clear. I don't know how the fuck he came up with it. Who came up with this shit? You see, if hip-hop journalists really did their fucking homework, and all these bloggers who get interviews with some of these guys, Jungle or Nas, and they ask the most basic dumbass questions. What was it like when you dropped Ether? What, like, ask Nas about this shit. Who came up with the logo for this? Why do you think, did it work for you? Why, like, did you, because it does feel underutilized, actually, if I'm just being real, right? It's an ill logo. I don't know if they did a whole lot with it. It's not like the Wu logo where there was a lot of merch and things like that, but this logo is fucking ill. Anyway, so Nas for sure. Nas has a bunch of great ones. The kid is mean mugging, but it's also warm and vulnerable. And again, this is what made Nas so ill, because Nas was all of that. Right? When I was young, I used to be a fan of the Jackson 5. He was vulnerable, but he was also, like, he rightly said this. Again, he thought this out. He wanted to be vulnerable yet bulletproof. And that is essentially the greatest kind of superhero. That's Christ, right? Christ was vulnerable, but kind of bulletproof, sort of. I mean, they didn't have bullets and guns back then, but obviously, for the metaphor and the mythology, he was crucified, he came back. You could still pierce him, right? He could still have wounds, but he's obviously God, right? Anyway, so moving on. RVID XR Damager. I see that you have the There's a Darkside, obviously, as your Avi. So, yes. This is a great album cover. Again, probably my favorite Redman album of all time. I'm trying to think in terms of album covers. Is this my favorite Redman album cover? Redman albums. The Muddy Waters album is pretty cool. I would say, yeah, you know what? Maybe I will give it to There's a Darkside. Because I don't think Redman had the greatest album covers. I'm going to be honest with you. But they worked for what they were. You get what I'm saying? But There's a Darkside, I think, would... Again, maybe it's because I'm partial to the album and I think it's his best album. But it's certainly that, like, creative, like, whoa, what is this shit? So I would give it to There's a Darkside for sure. We talked about Stress, Liquid Swords. We didn't talk about Only Built for Cuban Links, but of course, great album cover. Classic, one of the more memorable ones in hip-hop for sure. Yeah, this is a great album cover, no doubt. No doubt. And, Ray in front, Ghost in behind, back up. Like Water for Chocolate. That's an interesting one. Like Water for Chocolate, that's actually a really good mention. And I say this because this album really made me like Common. I think I said this before. When I first heard Common, I first heard the album before this, One Day It Would All Make Sense. And I didn't really care for it. I thought it was okay, but I didn't love it. Until I heard 99. When 99 came out, and I was like, holy shit. And then I heard 6th Sense, which is on this album, and I was like, holy shit. Right? When Common kind of had more of the rugged joints. And one thing I really liked about this Common album, and it's really quite different when you think about it now from really any hip-hop album cover, is like even the use of green. Like the color usage is so interesting to me now that I think about it, right? Like when you look at it, it has this... Like I remember back then when I had the CD, my homeboy gave me the CD and I was like, oh, I'm going to listen to this. It had this calming effect on me. I don't know what it is, but I just was like, ooh, this looks like some, like a calm, cool vibe. I got to get into this type of thing. So I like that. I do like that album cover. I think it's quite good. Again, not necessarily my favorite, but certainly a striking album cover, hands down. Word Life OC. This is okay. It's all right. It's cool. It's a little... it's not the greatest album cover. But I'm not knocking OC. I love OC. Shout out to OC. It's okay. It's all right. The Future Is Now. I don't think I know what The Future Is Now. I've never even heard of this. Is this a rap album? It's got to be a rap album. Nonfiction. Okay. What does this shit look like? I don't think I've ever heard this album. Let's see here. The future is now. This is kind of like this is interesting. See, you can kind of see how this is basically a like it's not a copy, but they're inspired by Organized Confusion, right? Extinction Stress Agenda, right? So like again, people show you their influences in a lot of ways, and I do think that this is quite creative. I mean, it's a little too chaotic for me, right, personally. But again, that's their vibe. That's what they're selling. They're like, look, listen, we do Organized Confusion, you know, a lot of lyrics, you know, sort of sort of a little rock influenced, right? Chaos. That's what they're selling, and that's fine. Monkey Bars, Sean Price. This was okay. It's cool. It's all right. And Violent by Design is Jedi Mind Tricks. I never really liked this album cover, but it's maybe because I was just like, not that it was too close to home, but almost too close to home, if that makes sense. Like, I was just kind of like, okay, the child soldier in the jungle, like, this is kind of like back home. Like, I don't know. I just was like, Violent by Design. I was like, what you trying to say? And then I look at a bunch of white rappers. What you trying to say? I'm violent by design. Paul. What's up, everybody? Okay, to continue where we left off, let me anger the haters first. The 6 with my mouse. Come money, you know how it goes. Pray the real live forever, man. Pray the fakes get exposed. I will never. Let's go. I want that Bugatti just to hurt. He had y'all shook with this shit. Niggas want my spot and don't deserve it. Hard. I don't like how serious they take themselves. I'm always with me, I guess I know myself. I don't have no time for that. Yo, he had y'all shook. I'm in New York. People are like, oh, you from the 6? Girls coming up to me. I'm talking to them from Toronto. Oh, really? Like, come on, man. That's why I know, like, flexing them, they had to run to QT. Quentin Miller and all that shit. Oh, Quentin Miller. Nah, man. Quentin Miller's whack. Sorry. He can... Drake brought the swag. Right? Let's go. That's Sasuke. Let him know, nigga. Oh, I was running 6 with... I was running through the 6 with my... Anyway. It's enough. So, going back to this list, some of y'all added some new things here, so I'm going to just continue. I already talked about Organized Confusion, Stress. I see that's a big one. Shout out to Choke Jelani. Criminal Minded. That's interesting. What's up, Tiger Lord? So, Criminal Minded album cover, I remember, obviously. You know, it's funny because some people would argue that KRS kind of pioneered gangster rap, right? I've heard this argument before. You know, I'm not sure who came first, whether it was him or Schoolie D. I think Schoolie D came out a little bit before, maybe. I'm not sure. I have to check the timeline on that. But Coogee Rap was doing it. So again, there was a few amount of people who were doing it, but I think he was basically saying he's the first to have with the guns on the cover type of thing. You know, it's an interesting argument. It's a cool cover. It's fine. Mr. Scarface is back. Always remember that. That's a dope album cover. Very dope. With the Scarface, like, I think the shotguns are being pointed at various people. I can picture it in my head. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this was fire. This is a fire album cover. This is in the trap type of shit. Yup. People pointing guns at each other, and Scarface is just like. This was hard. This was really like really cool album cover. So again, these are all great suggestions. We don't get to Supreme Clientele. Great suggestion. My favorite rap album cover is Stillmatic. We talked about this already. Pigeon And of course, Violent by Design. We talked about that. So the Slim Shady LP. I'm assuming that's what you mean, Bruno. Let me see if I can see this. The Slim Shady LP. I had this album on tape. You know, I will say it's definitely a memorable cover. Like, we all remember this, right? So it certainly was a different vibe, if you think about it, right? From what we were used to. And it's certainly like, I mean, even the colors, it's sort of this very grayish, I mean, it's not gray, but dark world type of thing. It's okay. It's all right. Liquid Swords, obviously, already talked about. Doggy Style, classic. The Blueprint, classic. Get Rich. Now, this is the first time I've seen someone mention Get Rich or Die Trying. I do think this is absolutely one of the great rap album covers ever. 50. Absolutely. I had this on CD, and it was like, I would just look at it. Like, it was one of those things you're just like, whoo. And, you know, I have to say, man, it really is a work of art. Because, honestly, it's one of those things that the execution could have been done poorly, if that makes sense. But think about it, right? This is really dope execution. Because right away, when you saw it, you knew, okay, this guy's been, I mean, again, with the lore, you knew, okay, shot 9 times, but still sort of basically bulletproof, right? He's hard, tough. He's got the chain on, right? Let's look at this album cover in some depth, because it's been a minute since I've actually, like, straight up looked at it. But, I mean, this was tough, man. I can't overstate how big this album was. And again, when you look at, as I said, these great artists, it's the music, the look, the voice, the style, it's all together. Because the truth is, if you're trying to make something that's great, you're probably going to put effort across the board in all of those things. And you're probably going to be unique in your own way across all those things, right? When you look at people who are mediocre, they're usually just mediocre across the board. Now, every once in a while, they might get lucky, and that's usually someone else's genius. They get lucky, right? But truth be told, the great artists, it's really across the board. Anyway, great album cover. Really great. Illmatic, of course. One-Eyed, right? The concept of Illmatic is so simple and heavy. A child in his home city, but leaves his room for the listener or a viewer to conjure up a movie while playing the album. To say that the music encapsulates the child, Nas, his experience from the beats to the rhymes is an understatement. I agree. And also, again, it's like that picture of Nas is it's such a good picture because it is warm, but it's like childlike. There's an innocence there, but there's a toughness there. But it's not just like, you know, it's not like Baby Keem, whatever the hell his name is, where it's like the child abuse cover, as I call it, right? Like, you're still getting some sort of warmth with that. So I like that. Mad Max, mine forever gonna be the Stillmatic with the pigeon and the graffiti in the background. Yeah, man. These are all great. The Stillmatic. I also had this on CD. I don't know where I found this damn Stillmatic CD, but this is such a good album cover, man. And obviously, a return to form for Nas. The pigeon. That shit's hard, man. That shit is fucking hard. Yeah. That's fly. You know, and even the pose, it sounds, with the bracelet, it's slick Rick shit. It's slick Rick shit. It's fucking ill. Let's see what else. Pop Smoke, Meet the Woo 1. You know what I think is interesting about this? I'm glad that you mentioned this because I love this album cover. I think this album cover is fucking hard. But again, I was there. I was in Brooklyn, man. Like, I told niggas. I think I've said this many times. I've had a story where I was hanging out with some people. One was neighbors with Pop Smoke, and I was like, and this was the day Meet the Woo 1 had dropped. Right, and I was like, "You gotta listen." I had just heard it on my way there, and I was telling the neighbor like, "Yo, you better go to your boy and beg to, like, you know, work with him because he's about to blow the fuck up," and that's exactly what happened. So this shit is hard. Like, it's almost kind of like a mix between. Like that face is almost kind of like 50 Cent's kind of face in a sense. But what I like about it is, like, it's shrouded in mystery. It's some Mortal Kombat shit. It's literally like the smoke, right? Scorpion, right? It's just that kind of vibe, right? The smoke will never clear. I mean, miss Pop Smoke, man. Again, these are the great. When I talk about people who build archetypes, who do things that sort of hint at a larger set of behaviors or a vibe or a certain image, mysticism. Like, that's what you need in rap. It can't just be the average, I'm just a dude who happens to sell a couple bricks or whatever garbage, right? Like, something about your vibe has to be transcendent on some level. Even if you're just the regular guy. But you might be regular, but something about the way you're regular is showing that that's how like human beings are regular on a whole, right? Like, there's got to be something transcendent about what you're doing, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. And if it's not there, you're probably not very good. So yes, I love these are all. And it's interesting, Mad Max, that you also love the Meet the Woo 1 cover. And I didn't even realize how similar it was to 50. And then until I started talking about it now, and now that, again, I bring this up. And obviously, you already know Pop Smoke is very much influenced by 50, and even they work together. And 50 is a big fan of Pop Smoke. So again, your influences show, right? Along with Dark in Hell is Hot. Great cover. Very, very eye-popping cover for sure. I had the CD, and this is a great cover. I mean, it's not like my kind of cover in a sense. Because again, I love DMX, but it's not the cover that I'm like always. I wouldn't put it on my wall. It's just too dark. It's too dark, but it's a dope album cover for sure. And when I think about it now, I'm trying to think of DMX albums. Which one has my favorite album cover? I liked And There Was X, actually, with the giant X. But these are all cool. They're all fine. Obviously, DMX Flesh in My Flesh, very much memorable. But again, too dark for me. I wouldn't put that on my wall necessarily. And Mad Max, you guessed, maybe Low End Theory. Not bad, not a bad guess, but no. Not my favorite rap album cover, but good guess. I'm interested. It's funny. A lot of people talk about Low End Theory here. Zenkai, what up? I'm surprised that people say Low End Theory because I do love Tribe. But I don't talk about Tribe as much as y'all would notice. You guys noticed that, right? Like, I like Tribe. I love Tribe. But I certainly don't talk about them as much as I do with Mobb Deep or, like, let's say Nas or Ghost or whatever. But, again, that's why I'm like... And Low End Theory is actually... Of the albums, I would probably say it's probably my third favorite. Like, I prefer Midnight Marauders. I think that's probably my favorite Tribe album. If you ask me, what album do you want to listen to top to bottom, I'd say Midnight Marauders. But I think People's Instinctive has their best stuff, if that makes sense. Or at least the 3 or 4 great songs are there are, like, phenomenal, right? And, like, still, to me, their best shit, in a way. But again, Tribe have a lot of amazing songs. So the Madvillainy cover, word to Mos Def, who was like, I used to just see it and stare at it. But yeah, this is obviously classic. I mean, you even see right here, someone's got Etsy, right? This is a great cover. I mean, again, abstract, but just when you look at it, you're like, what is this shit? Again, I remember because I remember seeing the vinyl from back then, and as I've told you, it was actually the first time I ever heard of MF Doom was this one white kid that I knew at college, and he was into all that Def Juke stuff, and so he was the one that actually put me on MF Doom because he was like, oh, you know, he used to always talk about Aesop Rock. I thought that stuff was garbage, and so the stuff that he put me on in Madvillainy was the stuff like the sort of the lesser tracks I didn't quite like. But then I started to explore a little more, and I was like, oh, this is by far the best shit that you've ever recommended me. So, anyway, Madvillainy gets a thumbs up 100%. Paid in Full. Eric B. and Rakim. Classic album cover, for sure. Super classic. I like this album cover, of course. I mean, who wouldn't? This is certainly one of the most memorable hip-hop covers ever, right? Rakim, Eric B's President, Check Out My Melody, all that shit. So, very much looking like they're paid in full. Very young, right? Innocent almost in a way. So, I like this album cover for sure. Muddy Waters, we talked about. Liquid Swords. Again, it's funny. It's almost the same sort of we all kind of know these album covers that really stuck to us. Liquid Swords again up there. Low End Theory, of course. Food, which was dope. Soul on Ice. The Soul on Ice album cover is interesting. I remember the first time when I saw it, I remember thinking to myself, because it was jarring in a way, because I remember thinking to myself, like, it wasn't what I pictured, right? When I thought Soul on Ice, and then you see the jail, it was like, but again, I'm not saying that in a bad way. I think it's kind of interesting because it's almost, again, if I'm interpreting, it's been a while since I've heard this album in full. In fact, it's been literally like 2 decades. But at the time when I thought of it, I was like, oh, this is kind of like, wow, like he's a soulful cat, like the brothers, the soulful experience, literally behind bars, put on ice, and unable to express itself fully. So, and I also think that is there a book or something of that nature that he was referencing called Soul on Ice? Anyway, you tell me in the comments. Illmatic, Black on Both Sides, the Mos Def sort of staring at you. Great album cover. Interestingly enough, it's funny, like Black on Both Sides, MF Doom's Madvillainy, similar in some ways, right? Obviously. But Mos is just presenting himself as like sort of Brooklyn black man, authentic self, and it's a dope album cover for sure. Very good, very good. It's very classic. It has this sort of classic man vibe to it. And again, that was kind of what made Mos dope, is that he was the new generation, but there was something like he was conscious, but there was something very rugged and very down to earth Brooklyn about him. And again, that's what we talk about being transcendent. Like Mos Def wasn't talking about he wasn't like no street rapper. He was a relatable dude, all things considered, right? He was the down to earth rapper. He's what y'all think J. Cole is or wants to be is what Mos Def actually was. Like I've talked about Murs and these guys who are more down to earth, right? But again, they were down to earth in the way of like, yeah, like there was still something transcendent about them. They were the guys who, they paid attention to everything. They were still down to earth, but they could go places mentally that you would go, yeah, that's cool. I'm glad you went there, right? Anyway, so 36 Chambers, of course. I mean, it's funny. You talk about all these things, man. They are just memories. I remember seeing this in Saudi. I can even remember the room that I was. I think at this time, I might have been living in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia at the time. And I'm trying to think who gave this to me. Was it one of my homeboys, Ethiopian homeboy? Maybe. And I just remember being like, ooh, what is this shit? And it was the first time I heard, obviously, that METHOD, man. And I just, like, lost it. I just thought it was the greatest shit. And Mystery of Chess Boxing. I just loved this cover. I loved this ninja shit, right? I'm into, martial arts ninja shit. So I loved this. Like, you didn't know what... you had no idea what they looked like, but it was some karate shit. I grew up on all that, man. Martial arts flicks. So, yeah, this is certainly one of the greatest, without a doubt. His guesses are Illmatic, Doggy Style, and Hardcore. Hardcore is in Lil Kim? Now, that I would not have... that is hilarious, because I don't know if you guys have ever seen me talk about Hardcore, but... No, this is not one of my favorite album covers. It's good, it's fair, it presents Lil Kim very well, but nah, not at all. But Illmatic and Doggy Style, certainly great album covers. He's always liked the absurd pen and pixel covers like 400 Degrees, Guerrilla Warfare, and On Top of the World. I hated those covers. I'm not even gonna hold you. I remember my younger brother was into all that Hot Boys and shit when they came out. I just thought that stuff was garbage. Now, I do like Juvenile. I always liked Juvenile. I always thought that Juvenile was the best rapper in the whole clique. Like, easily. I still think that. But, yeah, these pen and pixel covers are not my cup of tea. There were two, you know what it felt like? For those of y'all who remember, this is pre-Photoshop. Or at least from when before I was using Photoshop. But I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. Microsoft Word used to have these, like, because Word goes back very far, used to have these sort of like giant, sort of almost like text, bubble text or whatever. Man, I wish I remember the name of that shit. But I remember when it first came out, and we were all like, right? As a young kid, you slapped them on everything, your mix CDs and all that kind of stuff. And so that's, to me, when I saw this Pen and Pixel shit, it almost felt lazy, even though I know that's not exactly. But it was very much of its time, right? Even the way that this 400 Degrees is written, right? Like, Juvenile is written. Like, it used to be like one of those presets in Microsoft Word. So no, I'm not really fucking with this. I was never really into this. Guerrilla Warfare. What was on this? Guerrilla Warfare. Is this like a Hot Boys? This must have been Hot Boys, right? I wasn't into this shit, man. Like, my brother was into this kind of shit, and I just wasn't into it. But, you know. What else? On Top of the World? I have no idea what album this is. No idea. On Top of the World rap album. Who put this out? Oh, 8 Ball. Right, okay. I don't think I've ever heard this album in full. Is this the one that has... Does this have the song Backyard, Mississippi? I don't know if I've heard this album before. I was never into 8 Ball and MBG. Can I be honest with y'all? I need y'all to recommend some of their best stuff, because Backyard, Mississippi is still the best stuff I've heard from them. And just on some real shit, the first time I ever heard of 8 Ball and MJG was on Harlem World, because I had that Mace album, and you know I was a big fan, obviously in real time. And I just remember them being on the song, and I was like, "Who are these guys? Like, they're ruining the song." That whole song, like, because again, that's kind of when the South and New York started to kind of mix, you know, in the late '90s, mid to late '90s. And I just was like, man, this has got to be one of the weakest songs on here. Oh my God, let me take it back. Okay, let me see what the actual song was. Was it the Player Way? I was like, huh? This was I always skipped this song. I thought this was easily one of the weakest songs on Harlem World. Anyway, the Notorious K.I.M. I'm trying to remember the Notorious K.I.M. Oh, I got. Okay, but you know it's your taste. It's fine. Voice to Creation. I appreciate you mentioning it. Coming Out Hard. Let's see what else was on here. Coming Out Hard. Yeah, this is okay. So you know, fair enough. You know, of all the Lil' Kim album covers, I think my favorite one, maybe just because it's my favorite Lil' Kim album, period, would be La Bella Mafia. I think she just looked amazing on that shit. And it's very, like, it's still sexy, but there's a certain class that I think was missing from the other ones. You get what I'm saying? Was it this one? Oh, okay. Well, all right, this was fine. But this is good. I take that back. I was thinking of... Sorry, I thought the album cover was when she dressed up for the I Came Back For You video. What she was wearing in I Came Back For You video was hard. And it just looked dope. That kind of mafioso, but chinchilla, all that shit. But again, I think this is her best album. So, you know, and I think that she looked pretty good on this. Let's see what Dr. Doom first come. This was, Kool Keith. Man, I gotta find the time to really dig into, because Kool Keith got so much shit. But believe me, I will dig in and I will give y'all the Kool Keith. And when I give y'all, it'll be dope. I don't know what the fuck is going on with this album cover, man. This is some fucking like, was there like a roach in the background or some shit? I'm trying to remember. This is crazy. What the fuck? Baboon up here. What is going on here? Anyway, all good. From this era, I really like Meet the Woo 1 and 2, absolutely. I think you hinted at Supreme Clientele being one of your favorite ones. Okay, so finally, cat's out the bag. My all-time favorite rap album cover is Supreme Clientele. Easily. I don't know, there's just something about the Supreme Clientele album cover that I like it even more than Illmatic. Because to me, this is the fly shit. You know, when I saw the comment about talking about album covers, I was like, the first one that came to mind immediately was Supreme Clientele. So I was like, you know what, that might just be my favorite. I've had this in the car. I used to play this literally for years every day in my car. I just love this album cover. Like just the way, like even the look at them, the way he's gripping the mic. Come on, man. You know, it's just fly. Everything about this is fly. The colors are fly. The chain, the glasses, like the whole shit. This whole shit. The bravery, the flyness of it, the color, you know? I love this album cover, man. I love this album cover. Like I said, this is, and it, to me, it's like rap at its. If someone was like, what does a great rapper look like? I'd be like that. That's essentially, imagine that shit. You put a beat on, and I just start performing, you know? Anyway, I love this shit. I love that album cover. So yes, Supreme Clientele. Let me go back to the comment up here. Roseanne Blessing Malope, you got it. Got it. Absolutely. My favorite. Hands down. But of course, like I said, Liquid Swords, Connected. Connected is like one of the top 5 for me as well. So those of y'all who mentioned that, great point. Aquemini. What's up, Pete Tresnov? So Aquemini is cool. I mean, it's not like my vibe. I like Outkast. Again, I don't think they're whack by any means. I thought they were good, but they're not necessarily my vibe. But their album covers were pretty cool for what they were. Aquemini might be their. I think the Stankonia cover goes pretty hard too, actually, for what they were, for what they were about. Aquemini, Outkast. Yeah, this was cool. Again, not really my flavor, but certainly, again, I remember looking at this on CD and listening to it and stuff like that. So certainly memorable. I mean, all these were memorable album covers because they're all based on, I don't know, having something to say, having some sort of talent, putting out something that people would actually want to watch and listen to. Okay, a lot of the same comments here. Connect Balding, what's up? MM Food, Low End Theory. Again, these are all the same. Foreign Exchange Connected, absolutely love. I&I Center of Attraction, Center of Attention. This is a great album cover. Very, very understated, almost historical kind of vibe. Historical blackness, I guess, quote unquote. Come to think of it, where the fuck did they get this album cover from? Album cover. What is this in reference to? It's interesting. I wonder where the fuck. Anyway, it's one of those you see it and you remember it. Black Elvis. This is Cool Keith, right? Is this Black Elvis in space? Yes. Yeah, this is pretty good. Show me how you feel. This is like that space James Brown shit. Cosmic James Brown. I mean, that's basically what he's going for, right? So, anyway. A good album cover. Funny. GBC always. What's up, my man? GBC. Yours is probably Liquid Swords. Close, but it's actually Supreme Clientele. But yes, Liquid Swords is certainly up there, top 5. And mine is either Cuban Links or Strictly Business. Both hard. Strictly Business is hard. Strictly Business, PMD. This is hard. And again, it's just simple, right? Anyway, Strictly Business. Off the top of my head, The Unseen, Quasimoto. A little cartoonish for me, but again, still dope. I mean, it's certainly memorable. What I love about this album cover is that literally is the unseen, right? So Homeboy is in the back with some sort of equipment, right? This is like an NPC or some shit, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. And he's unseen while being chased by the cops. Dope. I mean, this is very creative. Really, it really is very creative. It's a great album cover, and it's certainly very memorable. The Low End Theory, of course. The Rising Tide. I don't think I know this. The Rising Tide. Fort Minor. I don't think I've ever heard this. It's interesting. This is almost like some Gorillaz type shit. I guess, kind of. Okay. And of course, Wu enters 36 Chambers. Ghostface Iron Man. That's a great album cover for sure. Beats, Rhymes, and Life. I'm trying to remember what Beats, Rhymes, and Life looks like. This was cool. This is actually a really cool album cover. Yeah, you know what? I have to give it. I'm glad you mentioned this because this is actually a really dope album cover. It's almost like Marauders in the back. Man, they really put some thought into this shit. And it's almost like, you know, the tribe superhero figures come to save the day with the flag of a tribe called Quest. This is actually really fucking creative. I'm glad you mentioned this. Thanks for mentioning this because I would have actually never really thought about this. Certainly a very dope album cover, really and truly. I mean, the album itself was pretty decent for sure. Had some choice cuts on it, but it wasn't received as strongly as the previous stuff for a good reason. Obviously, you know, the first 3 albums were phenomenal. Doggy Style, War Report. The War Report. Let's see here. The War Report. CNN. Command vehicles. Know what I'm saying? The invincible, untouchable CNN. So this, I always thought. I can't say that I love this album cover. I mean, if I'm being real with you, it's a. I always thought it was kind of a little weird because they just multiplied themselves. I'm not sure what that means, but they're in, you know, fatigues or army camo and all that shit. It's cool. It's fine. It's a good album. So, Low End Theory, Volume 2, Return to 36, Get to Die Trying, Criminal Minded, The Great Adventures of Slick Rick. Yeah, The Great Adventures of Slick Rick is a great album cover from back then, especially. I think this is actually one of the better ones from the 80s. They all had good album covers, but I like this one in particular because it has that Pink Panther, Dr. Seuss. I don't know. There's a certain, like, the moment you look at it, you're like, oh, this looks like fun. So, great album cover for sure. Strictly Business we talked about. Super Duper Fly is dope. I'm glad that you mentioned that. Good comment from Dean Giannakopoulos. Super Duper Fly is dope. I really think this is actually a really cool album cover. That I would, you know, I could put this on my wall because it's very Missy. And I love obviously the foot, the shoe, how the shoe is just, you know, it's some anime shit when you think about it. Just like the positioning of it. It's a dynamic pose. You still got the Missy, right? What she's wearing and she's just kind of laid back. Anyway, I think this is fly. This is really fly. But again, great artists do great shit. And it's effortless. She's not forcing it. But just very, very cool. Illmatic's your favorite. Die Lit is lit, definitely. Die Lit's Cardi. This is a good album cover. Yeah, it's fine. It's okay. The moshing. It's alright. Yeah. Balloon Mind State. What's up, Ann Milano? Let's see here. Balloon Mind State. This album cover. You know, let me look at this a little bit closer because I don't remember this album so tough. But I've certainly heard it. This is the one with Break of Dawn on it, I think. Break of Dawn. But I don't know if I've listened to this in full. I don't think I have. Maybe one of these days I'll go back to it. Let's see here. Samurai by Lupe Fiasco. I can't even remember what this looks like. I mean, I don't think I ever listened to this either. Was this an album? This is what this looked like? Lupe? I mean, respectfully, I'll pass. But that's okay. If you like it, it's all good, my man. Prelude, shout out to you. LiveLoveASAP, great album cover. Certainly one of the best of the new school, without a doubt. Instantly recognizable. Yeah, it's classic. So, it's a great album. Although I have to say, I think this one I preferred. I preferred Long Live. I thought Long Live was harder. Like, and in fact, when it was, this was that time period, right? When it was like, he was going to lead up to Long Live. I was like, oh my God, I couldn't wait. And then the album, unfortunately, ended up being disappointing to me. But this might be my favorite A$AP Rocky album cover, period. This is also pretty cool, too. At Long Last is also pretty cool because it's weird. And then, of course, it's like the ghost of Yams is coming out of his face and shit. It's fucking crazy. Actually, this album cover is nuts. Like, really, really fucking cool. Like, This is like a really fucking cool album cover, actually. And the way that they pulled this off is fantastic. I wonder who did the art for this. So it's up there. It's between those two. I actually think his album covers got better over time in that regard. But this first one, Live Love ASAP, is certainly classic. What the album? Redman. Tonight's the Night. This was cool. Yeah, with the bloody red hands. It's okay. Not like my favorite, but it's okay. What's up, Wooked? Mysterious Funk. And Get Rich or Die Trying, of course. Get Rich or Die Trying. Yeah, this was cool. Space Ghost Perp. Yeah, this is cool. Good album covers. These are all good suggestions. None of these are trash, right? Sex Style. Really? This is one of your favorite album covers? This is so. This is like one of those old like 90s like VHS grainy like porn flick type vibes with this fucking album cover. So I wouldn't put this as one of my favorites. I'm not gonna lie, but it works. It sells what Kool Keith was talking about. Monkey Bar, Sean Price, and Muddy Waters. Your guess is ODB 36 Chambers. I'm trying to remember what that even looks like. Oh, with the driver's license? Why would this be my favorite? Nah. With what? Not the driver's license, sorry. The what is it, that fucking the card, whatever that these people use and shit like that. These people, right? Oh, we're gonna attack the tethers now. But you know what I'm talking about, hood shit. This is like it's like a benefits card or something like that. Anyway, nah, it's fine, but it's not really my thing. Jules, From Me to You. This was okay. Yeah, this was fine. It was alright. Let's see what else we got here. Blueprint, obviously classic. Aquemini we talked about. Graduation. Yeah, I think Graduation is a great Kanye album cover. It might be his best, actually, when I think about it. For me, I mean, I'm just talking about what I like, because that's like it's like he's bursting out like a rocket. He's kicking off. He's just graduated, and he's gonna, go on his own into like the wider space or world or whatever. I do like this album cover. I think it's a good album cover for what he was doing. It's colorful. I mean, and I've always said that Good Morning to me was the best song on this whole tape, and easily one of Kanye's best songs, like top 3. Top 5? Like top 3? Yeah. Good Morning. Hustlers, that's if you're still living. Anyway, good suggestions. If you're reading this, it's too late. That's an interesting album cover. Not one of my favorites, but certainly very lo-fi in a sense, and it did strike you because, again, surprise album, probably the best surprise rap album we've ever gotten, hands down. And again, Drake is the one that tells you what waves to do, right? We in Toronto give you the wave. So it was a good album. So actually, a great comment. What it makes, if you're reading this too late, your favorite. The title is very serious, it holds weight. And then it's written in this very odd, childlike handwriting, and it's all slanted. Yeah, exactly. It does add tension, because it's almost like some Weapons horror movie shit. If you're reading this, by the time you read this, you're going to get killed. It's a great point. I'm glad you brought that up. And I never really thought of it that way, but that's kind of the thing. And it's true. By the time you know yourself, like Toronto's already taken over. 666. So yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I'm gonna get crucified for this, but it reminds me of Design Topography mixed with Basquiat. Okay, it's simple, it's clean, but it packs a punch. Is it his mom's handwriting? That would be wild. Isn't it supposed to be a suicide note? Whatever, who knows? The Ecstatic. So the Ecstatic is the one where there's a guy, it looks like he's jumping across a roof or some shit like that. Yeah. Definitely memorable, but not my favorite. Supreme Clientele, we've talked about. Aquemini, hardcore for the teenagers, right? Please make a video. Of course I will. Fires from Heaven, no doubt. But some of them should have included Cardi's self-titled. You know what? I'm trying to think with Cardi's self-titled. Do I love this album cover? That was okay. It was alright. Someone's like, is this Playboy Cardi's best? I gotta see this video. I mean, obviously it is, but that's my opinion. Lucky's Days Before 3. Let's see what this is about. Lucky's. Okay. I don't know about this one, but okay, sure, fair enough. Stillmatic Supreme, Volume 3, The Blueprint, Back to Swag, yeah, back-to-back swag on 100. Follow the Leader with Eric B and Rakim. Yeah, these are all great suggestions. Follow the Leader. Yup, Rakim. Yeah, this was cool. This was actually really cool. And again, you know, these guys, man, they're fucking smart. So they first start off paid in full. You see them up front, and then Follow the Leader is like, get behind. Follow the Leader. Very smart. Very smart. Eric and Rakim, right? With the jackets and shit. 7, you know, knowledge, all that shit. So it's fire. LiveLoveASAP, Hard to Earn. Hard to Earn. Hard to Earn. What rap album is that? Oh, of course. Gangstarr had to. Whoa. You know what? Clip this part out. If you want everyone to hate on me, clip this part out and just, you know, make that a meme or whatever. Yeah. You know what? I like this album cover. You know what? I'm glad you mentioned this. Arnav Van Eyck. This is actually a great album cover. You know why I really like this album cover in particular? Is, for one, I love the planet. I'm a big fan of the planet. But I actually love how the bucket hat. I just like I like the swag and just how primo is. I just think it's ill. it's ill, man. I mean, anyway. I'm trying to think. Moment of Truth, which I had, was just like, it didn't have their pictures on it. It was just sort of, oh, it did. Oh, yeah. Oh, and starting in front of the court. This was cool, but I liked Hard to Earn much better. I was thinking of, what's the name? Gangstarr albums. I think it was the one after that just had the logo. Full clip. Right. So, yeah, I of all the Gangstarr albums, I think Hard to Earn is my favorite one. Like, in terms of the look. Just, again, really because of just the poses. The Guru's kind of like, you know, with the sunglasses, but Primo is just, you know, the master beat maker, producer with the bucket hat. Very fly. Hard to Earn. So, yeah, these are all some great suggestions, man. Escape from Monster Island. I don't know what this is. Oh, was this a MF Doom? I don't think I've ever heard this. I have definitely never heard this. Escape from Monster Island. Oh, this is like some Godzilla shit? Never heard this. And Bulletproof Wallets with the pancakes? Nah. I mean, again, it's fine, but it's okay. It's okay, but not one I would go to. Cuban Links, of course, classic. Cool G Rap 456. This is a good album cover for sure. Yeah, for sure. These are all some good suggestions. I'm trying to think. Slum Village, fantastic, Volume 2. Nobody brought this up, but this was kind of an interesting album cover to me. Certainly very memorable. And one of those album covers that when I look at it now, especially even closer, I'm like, what's going on here exactly, right? So, like, this is like a telephone or something like that. Like, where are these niggas? Anyway, but it's fine. It's cool. And what else? Off the top of my head. But these are all great album covers. Now, I think what I will do is I will go to my list, as always, because it's important to go to the list of the greats, right? Let's see. What's up, my man Tyler? The great rappers. They all have the great album covers. Prodigy. I didn't see a lot of Mobb Deep mentions. That's interesting. Why not? Interesting. People didn't really mention Mobb Deep albums. I'm not sure why. Did these guys? I mean, obviously, The Infamous is a classic rap album cover, but not necessarily my favorite. Yeah, Blood Money was a good album cover just because of the, you know, the logo, I guess. But you know, I mean, Hell on Earth, I had that CD later, and in in some ways, it might be my favorite of all of them. I don't know, maybe because again, I love the album, and it's the album I play most. It's probably my favorite Mobb Deep album when I really think about it. So it's just something very simple about it. It's just the dark, and you know, the infamous Mobb Deep. So anyway, but you know, come to think of it, Mobb Deep didn't really have the greatest. They didn't really have the craziest album covers. Big, I didn't see any mentions for Biggie, Life After Death. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, this is fine. Snoop, obviously Doggy Style, Snoop albums. I'm trying to think the covers for his albums. Oh, this is really useful. Which of these did I like the best? I like the obviously Doggy Style was great. They're all good. They're all fine. But I like the No Limit album cover. That was always really cool to me. I can't remember. Was it Games to Be Sold? Not to Be Told? Yeah, Snoop World. This was pretty cool, but, you know, not exactly one of my favorite album covers. Busta. No one mentioned Busta Rhymes. Let's look at this. Busta Rhymes album covers. Let's look at Busta Rhymes's. ELE I had on tape. I remember ELE for sure, big time. These are all okay, but again, none of these were album covers that I was like, oh shit. Not really, but they were fine. They were okay. Q-Tip Amplified, was like this? Was that? I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I actually like this album cover quite a bit. Yeah, I like this one quite a bit. I thought that this was certainly memorable back in the day. And it's all the different versions of Tip, but he's like this with the giant Q. Yeah, this was hard. Well, that was a hard album cover for sure. Obviously, we talk about DMX, we talk about Redman. Missy Elliott, I had So Addictive, the album cover. That was the first album of Missy's that I bought in real time. And I bought it because, like, Get Your Freak On was like, I was like, man, I gotta own this album. In fact, it was I saw the video and it was the lick shots at the no, y'all don't want to speak my name, when actually starts off with the Japanese Ich ni san shi, and then it's like, dang, y'all don't want to speak my I was like, I gotta own this album. I gotta buy this. Like, it's a no-brainer. So then I went back. So I would say that Missy So Addictive was like the one that I like first bought, but I might still be of Waller's, like that sort of outer space strange Missy shit. But these are all cool. These are fine. But I do think that ultimately her best album cover, in a way, you could argue, is the first one, because it's just her and her element, you know. But they're all okay. And let's see here. Pac. Interesting. There were no Pac mentions. Yeah. No interesting Pac mentions. Album covers. Well, there's a shit ton of these. You know, Pac had some good album covers, man. This one was what? Was this the one with greatest hits changes? I mean, this is one of those, like, album covers that really sold Pac hard. In a good way. Obviously humanized him. You used to see this everywhere, man. I mean, Pac is like, you could argue, I was going to say you could argue he's the most visible rapper ever. I don't know. You could make that argument. I know it's a weird thing to say, but it just, Pac was just like, when the moment Pac passed, I'm sure even before that he was obviously popular, but when he passed, for a good 10 years, it was just like Pac. Anyway, All Eyes on Me. This is obviously a classic, good one. 50, we talked about. 50's album covers. I liked Get Rich or Die Trying. I'm trying to remember what the other ones were, album covers. The Massacre was cool. I did like this. It was like some Venom type of shit. It was fine, but obviously the Get Rich or Die Trying one was better. And then the other ones, in fact, Curtis was not good. I don't remember Curtis even. What was the Curtis album cover? I don't remember that being good at all. Yeah, yeah, this was not good. I'm sorry. Like, I think when we talk about 50 losing that battle, quote unquote, to Kanye, I think album cover alone he lost it. It was like, what is this shit, right? I would have not. If it was me, I definitely would not have allowed this one to have been put out. I actually think it's a very bad album cover, all things considered. It's bad. And you're competing against Kanye, who's coming out with the best album cover he's ever put out. So it literally looked like you're waiting, Kanye's on the up and up. And so just by pure perception, people are like, oh, Kanye won, even though, 50 Cent is 300 times the rap artist that Kanye is, right? Raekwon. I'm trying to think if Ray had good album covers that I remember, other than Cuban Links, of course, which was classic. What did the second album look? What did the Mobility look like? This is boring. Lil X Diamond Story. Jesus Christ, this is a bad album cover. Sorry, Ray. Shout out to Ray. I love Ray, but that's just not very good. Immobilarity. This was okay. But Cuban Links, it's just... look at Cuban Links, right? Look at the color. Just the red, the yellow, the gold, the color is fire. Passion, style, elegance. Anyway, so Method Man. No Method Man album cover mentions, huh? Let's look at Method Man for a second. The Cal 2000 Judgment Day. That was hard. That was hard. That was a hard album cover. Yeah, it was good, but not. Again, some of these things, they're okay for their time and they work. Again, I'm not saying that it's a classic album cover, but what I'm trying to say that with Supreme Clientele, to me, is that it's classic, right? Like, it still looks fly. Like, you could still wear those clothes and take that picture, and it would still be cool in 2026, if that makes sense. And that's why I really like it. So, anyway, Rakim we've talked about. Although I'm trying to remember Rakim album covers, the solo ones. Yeah, these were not so great. This was 7 Seals. This is not good. Sorry, but I don't know if they were trying to go with that sort of the 7th Seal, the movie. I think was it Ingmar Bergman. I don't know what that was about, but that was just boring. Some of these album covers were kind of lazy, to be honest with you. They didn't really speak to anything. Common we've talked about, like Water for Chocolate, that came up. MC Solar, Pros Combat. Let's see here. I like this album cover. It's very classic, but again, I wouldn't say it's like the greatest album cover by any means. But I do like this album cover. Yeah, interesting. Doom we've talked about. Operation Doomsday, obviously Madvillainy. Slick Rick we've talked about. You know what? Slick Rick's comeback album I thought was a dope album cover. Yeah, with let's see, this one. Yeah, The Art of Storytelling. And you have it with the pen, or the quill, I should say, and he's writing with the bracelet and all that shit. I think that shit's it's pretty cool. And the font, obviously, the Slick Rick font itself is cool. So I think that was a cool album cover for sure. Scarface album covers. I was never really big on Scarface's album covers, if I'm being honest with you. I kind of, again, Mr. Scarface is back. That one was cool. But the rest of them, they were okay. They were fine. But nothing that really made me go, man, like, I gotta really listen to this shit. Yeah, none of them. I gotta be honest with you. Jizza, we talked about. Beneath the Surface, I loved. Most Def we've talked about. KRS-One we've sort of talked about. KRS-One album covers. Let's see here. Oh, this was hard. Yeah. This was hard. I mean, look, listen, certain things like people do. I mean, Nicki Minaj did this, right? Looking Ass or whatever. Like certain things, obviously it's the Malcolm thing, right? I get it, but this was a hard album cover. But the rest of these, yeah, I can't say that I like these album covers. Let's see what else. Ice Cube. Ice Cube did not come up at all in the conversation. Album covers. Let's see. So there's Ice Cube album cover. Now, I had War and Peace, Volume 2. We can roll all day if I can ride all night. Ice Cube had some hard album covers for its time, but again, I mean, am I putting this on my wall right now? Kill It Will with the gun out? No. It's of its era, man, where everybody was trying to be, tough gangster too. But again, that's the thing when we talk about Supreme Clientele. Like, I could still put Supreme Clientele on my wall because it has that classic Smokey Robinson, but the hip hop version, right? but that performance, Apollo Theater, that kind of thing. I could still put that on my wall and be dope. Pun, Big Pun album covers. What was the first one? Capital Punishment. Nah. Big L, Lifestyles of the Dangerous or whatever. No, definitely not. The second one was cool, but nah. Jadakiss. Jadakiss album covers. Let me see. Nobody mentioned Jadakiss. Nah. It's okay, but nah. Although I think this one, Kiss of Death, was because of the red and the white and the pose. It's okay, but nah. Nah. Mace, Harlem World. Now, I'm partial to this album cover because this was this was middle school for me, so this is, like I've told you, this is the first rap album I ever bought. Went with my money. In fact, I think I probably tried to dress like this with the hat back. It's like one of those things. It's very simple, very classic. So I do like this album cover. Is it like the greatest? No, but certainly something that I remember quite a bit. And what was the second? Oh, Double Up. Yeah, I didn't like this album cover. Even back then, I was like, LL Cool J. No one mentioned LL Cool J. Interesting. LL Cool J album covers. So, I would say that, I've seen some people like this one. This is cool. It's standing on top of the car. It is a very strong image, for sure. Definitely a strong image. Yeah. This is fly. Again, this is classic. You could put this on a wall. Good album cover, for sure. 10. Goats. This is okay. What was the one with Doing It on there? Was it the Mr. and Mrs. Smith album cover? Mr. Smith. Yeah, LL Cool J's album covers. Not so much. Lauren, Miseducation. Classic album cover, man. I'm surprised people didn't mention this one, but this one was like, yeah, this is a good album cover, man. Very good, actually. And it's almost like that that Pete Rock I center of attention, and then this one almost have similar feels. But this is a great album cover. Whoever designed this is very, very smart with the pencil, and that is fucking smart. So 3000, Andre 3000. Well, that's Outkast. Outkast had. Yeah, nah. Again, you guys, Aquemini, I think, is definitely one of their standouts, but I'm not a huge Outkast person like that. Ludacris album covers. Luda's not really known for his album covers like that, I would say. But, yeah, like, you know, like this is just goofy, right? But it's fun. I mean, that's what Ludacris was all about. Chicken and Beer, also goofy. Red Light District, this is fine. But, like, Luda's albums are not, like, what I would necessarily put on my wall personally. But, great artist. BDK, classic album cover, man. That first album, obviously. Very, very classic album cover. Long Live the Kane. This is classic. This is classic. And then the rest of these were not so great. But anyway, good one. Cool G Rap. We talked 4, 5, 6. What was the other ones? I'm trying to think. Cool G Rap album covers of his that I liked. Nah, 4, 5, 6 was the best one to me. AZ, Do or Die. Pieces of a Man. I remember I had that tape, and I liked that pose. It was very fucking cool when he was like this. So it's a good album cover. Yeah, I mean, you know, I always come back to, man, the Come Up. This is low-key one of the best rap videos ever recorded, in my opinion. Or let me just say this. It's certainly one of the best black and white rap videos I can think of off the top of my head. Very, very beautiful video. Royal Flush. Shout out to Royal Flush. Album cover. This was okay. Yeah, this is fine. I like the album cover, but it's, you know, it's okay. I don't think it's necessarily something that you would be like, oh, it blew you away. But it was cool. It was all right. Again, a lot of these things is also, of course, the music. The music was great, and then it backed up what the album cover was saying, right? Like, you see this, you're like, okay, the Hustler, he's getting it. Queen, smooth, you know? But it's fine. And Lil' Kim, we talked about. Chuck D. Now, this one is interesting. No one mentioned Public Enemy. Let me think now of the album covers of Public Enemy that I liked. I probably liked the first one the best. I'd meant to talk about Public Enemy, actually, at some point. Because I listen to Public Enemy, like, when I'm in the gym especially. That Public Enemy number one, that beat is fucking ridiculous. The song is ridiculous, but yeah, I think probably the first album, Bum Rush the Show. I just, like, there's something really cool about it. It's like they're laying, you know, like revolutionaries are laying plans. And then, of course, that logo is phenomenal, right? So, yeah, this is a really great album cover, actually. I'm surprised people didn't mention this one, but this one, I think, is certainly up there. This is fly shit, man. Revolution. And that's the thing about Public Enemy number one. I'll just talk about this briefly now, but that song is fucking incredible. It's like one of those things, like, when you start to listen to rap on a deeper level and you realize rap is multiple things. It's not just fly, because, as I've told you, when I was younger, I thought rap was just more about fly shit. But it's like when you realize that rap can do more than that. It can talk about your environment and what you're going through your mind and philosophical shit. And the beat can encapsulate all that while being fly at the same time. It's a mind-blowing experience, because when you listen to that beat, you're thinking, like, it sounds like someone on the run, almost like some fucking, you know, like when someone's trying to capture a fugitive, like radio, like back channel type of vibes. Anyway, incredible. So yes, I agree. I think this is actually one of the great rap album covers for sure. Jeru the Damager album cover. Let's see here. What was on Jeru the Damager's albums? It's okay. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. This is actually a nice color. You know, Wrath and Math, and with the blue and all that, very spiritual. Blue is sort of the color of the spirits and things. It's fine. It's good. Sean Price, we talked about. I actually really like, you know what, not the Monkey Bars cover, but maybe because my favorite Sean Price album is the second one, which is the one with all those Crisis beats on it. And I'm blanking right now. Jesus Price. Right, Jesus Price. So, I like this. This is, I think he's basically in front of a church. This has got to be in Brooklyn, I'm assuming. This was fine. This was cool. So ASAP, we talked about Drizzy. Now Drake. Let's see here. What are Drake's album covers? Drake has a lot of shit. Let's look at Drake's album covers. So Far Gone. I'm not really feeling a lot of these. Now, I would say I think If You're Reading This is probably the best one. That one, like as someone mentioned, that might actually be the best one. Again, it's my favorite Drake rap project. So, and that era, that 2015 Drake is the deadliest Drake. That's when it was up for y'all. Anyway, Nelly album covers. Let's see what was Nelly's album cover. Country Grammar. Meh. I had Nellyville. I did not own Country Grammar, but I liked it for sure. But I owned Nellyville. This is okay. These were all right. They weren't really all that special. Tretch. So now we're talking about Naughty by Nature, which is a great name, by the way. Absolutely great. I remember this album cover for sure. Was this their first album? I think it was. I remember this album cover. This was okay. Naughty by Nature was alright. It's okay. Cannabis. Cannabis album covers. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really think any of these were great, if I'm being real. I don't think any of these were really all that superb. Yeah. Nah. And Kool Keith. That's a whole other. Well, let's look at Magnetic MCs. We'll just do Ultra Mag, really. Obviously, this is one of those album covers that people have seen because of, again, it's the fashion. It's very 80s. The style. Yeah. Ecstasy. This is Houdini. You know, this Escape album cover was pretty, behind bars. Again, kind of powerful stuff for its time. I think I've talked about, if you want to know more about Houdini, I've done a video about Houdini, so just search for it. You'll find it. Smooth the Hustler. The album cover was in it. And then Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5. Obviously, classic people. Yeah. It's okay. It's fine. For what it was. But these are sort of the album covers off the top of my head. Let me just see right off the top. Great rap album covers of all time. Now let's see what the casuals on the internet think. Obviously they put Yeezus. I mean, this is a Kanye West stan boy. Right? I mean, and this is what Kanye West stands us to do. Dr. Dre, Eminem, Lauren, maybe not Lauren, but certainly, nah. None of these are what you would say are the greatest. Let's look at this real quick and I'll see what's on this list here. Introducing Hell No. Donuts, I guess. But a lot of these are things we've already talked about. Mama Said Knock You Out. That's okay. Let's see here. Yeah, this is... Yeah, none of these. Yeah, we've talked about the major ones. Anyway, y'all, let's, you know what? One more. Even though I don't really trust Hip Hop Wired, but let's just, with all due respect, sorry, not to shit on them or anything like that, but because I already see Tyler the Creator. I mean, obviously, it's not gonna be a great list. J. Cole, no. So let's just look at this and see. Oh, this is like some long ass list. Stankonia. Yeah, low end. Anyway, it's fine. We can put this topic to bed. Anyway, I love y'all. Thanks for checking me out as always. And let me know what you think in the comment section. Peace and love. One.